who did you have before the fight? Who did you think was going to win? Crawford,
For
Spence.
years, I thought Errol Spence was best Terence. And then I only picked Terence for a quick second after the fight was made. When the fight was made, I thought Errol Spence, this guy hasn't had a tune-up. You know, I was like, Terence Crawford, he's too good of a fighter for Errol Spence to have that kind of layoff and beat him. But then I saw Errol Spence at the media workout, and I said, shit, that guy looks hard to beat. I'm going to go back to Errol. I think it's going to be Errol Spence. Boy, was I wrong.
So
but
what?
Before the fight, I had Errol Spence.
You had Errol Spence. So what was your impressions after the fight?
That Terence Crawford's better than him. No matter how you slice it, at least at 147, Terence Crawford better than him. That was my impression.
So at 154, do you think there'll be a difference?
I mean, as a betting man, I would bet on Terence. And the reason why is it's very hard to see a display like that. And then say the other guy wins, like Errol wins. But the reason why I said, 147 is because they fought at 147. That's what we know. The data is there. So obviously he's better. And even if he's weight drained, Terence Crawford he's really a 154 pounder himself now. So he had to cut weight too. Regardless, his preparation was better.
Right.
He makes him a better fighter. Everything about it, his approach, his performance, everything is better. Even if you say, the car accident or whatever and all those things, well, Terence Crawford, he lives extremely clean. So everything about him is why he's two-time undisputed.
So do you think, okay, so a lot of people were talking after the fight, saying, oh, Terence looked a little maybe high in his eyes.
Oh, Errol.
Excuse me, Errol. His speech was slower. People are saying either he was maybe high, maybe a CTE. I'm sure you heard that doctor come out saying something. And then the third theory, and I spoke recently to Shane Mosley. I spoke to Winky, to a bunch of guys, and they all said the same thing. They said that, and I'm not making, this is not an excuse. I'm just asking what you think. This isn't my opinion. They think that Spence was just weight drained to shit. Do you think that had anything to do with his loss?
Okay.
And why?
I'm going to try to answer.
I think his eyes looked the way they looked.
Right. I'm going to try to answer all those things. Looking at Errol Spence, that guy didn't look prepared. That guy looked drained and sleepy and shit. Like he looked different, even from the media workout to the night before. If he was sounding and looking that lethargic leading up to it, it would have been like, this guy isn't ready for it. So just between those 3 days, he looked different. Facts. Okay. It's not like you said, it's not about excuses. It's just about the fact, bro. Not to take anything from Terence Crawford, because like I said, it's preparation.
Right.
99% of your performance is preparation. Right. Errol Spence didn't prepare well enough. As far as the doctor who? People keep saying doctor who?
Right.
If I turn off the camera right now and I speak in a different manner and I say I'm a doctor, you won't believe me? Dr. 805, where's credentials? Who is he? Get that shit out of here. Number two, it is way too irresponsible. And that's not even like the manner of which doctors move to look at video and diagnose a man. And to say that publicly to everybody, you don't do that shit, which is why I'm like, okay, his integrity is way off.
Right.
Now, when it comes to Errol Spence's performance and him being weight drained, my thing is I just can't quantify how much of that was Errol Spence being weight drained and how much of it was Terence Crawford being better than him, making him look even worse. Maybe that Errol Spence could have beaten Ugas. I don't know. Right? So since I can't quantify how much, it's a waste of time for me to say because he was weight drained, he lost.
The performance was so dominant. I personally don't think it would have made a difference either way. But will there be a significant difference at 54 if, in fact, they fight the rematch at 54?
Well, here's the thing with that. It's not a one-sided street. So would it be different at 154? Let's say it is. Let's say Errol beats him at 154. And then you say, well, he won at 154, now 147 because he was weight drained. Well, how about Terence Crawford? How about Terence Crawford got a year older or got a little bit older or months older and moved up to 154, who started ultimately at 135? You get what I'm saying? So you can't say it's all Errol or Errol weight drain, whatever. Now you just picking and choosing. Like I said, you can't quantify how much is due to what.
Right.
At 154, it may be a different fight. That's just it. It may be a different fight.
Right.
At 147, Terence Crawford is better than Errol Spence. It just
right, exactly. Here's what I saw. The key to that victory was the right jab. Now that's significant because Terence Crawford in life is right-handed.
Yes.
So we turned southpaw, fight southpaw, and now he's pop. That jab to me was the key to victory. What do you think was the key to the victory?
Yeah, the jab stopped Errol Spence from making it a dog fight. He had to jab his way in. Errol Spence's best weapon is his jab. It's not his footwork. It's not his chin. It's not his head movement. It's his jab, right? So with everything he does is built off the jab. So yeah, Terence Crawford taking the jab away was probably the most effective thing, but not by itself. You also got to say his power, hand-eye coordination, his reflexes, shit that made Errol Spence hesitant to do anything else. You know what I mean? So let's say he takes the jab away. What stopped Errol Spence for just ducking and hewing and just weaving his way in there? Well, the uppercut, the footwork, the reflexes. He couldn't do that shit either. It was how I think about Floyd Mayweather versus Canelo. And you say, well, Canelo was bigger than him, stronger than him, younger than him. Why did he try to box him? Why didn't he just go in there and just bum rush him? There was shit that Floyd Mayweather was showing, even without landing punches on him, that made Canelo think otherwise. You and I have been in the ring before. You don't have to get hit to know this is dangerous. All you need to do is see somebody faint or move, and it's like, I can't do it. You know? So not just taking the jab away, but his body language and everything Terence Crawford was showing made Errol say, ain't shit I can do, bro, but get my ass whipped.
What I saw after the knockdown in the second, and when the third round started, Spence threw a really hard overhand left, landed clean, but it did nothing, and that's when I was like, oh shit, like this is not gonna go well.
I'm gonna tell you, did you see my short? I'm gonna tell you when I knew, and most of the arena knew it wasn't gonna go well. It was the second round, right before that first knockdown.
Oh, when he pushed them off.
Yeah. When Terence Crawford, when they locked, I mean, it was twofold. When Errol Spence went in, because that's what he has. It's what I was banking on for Errol Spence to win. His strength, his power, So when he went in and Terence Crawford caught him and it locked, number one, Terence Crawford's strength, core strength, body strength to lock Errol Spence. Can't be bullied. But then his torque, his hips, his wrestling background, knowing how to push him off and get himself back on offense. When Errol Spence went back, I don't know how many feet, I said, fight's over. Because he can't win the wrestling match. He definitely ain't going to win the boxing match. It's over with, right? It was right there. I said, oh, it's over with. Now I'm just in the crowd waiting for it to be over with. It was that moment. It was that moment where I said, okay,
were you
he
there
can't make
live?
himself his way inside. And when he's inside, he get pushed back outside.
Right. Were you there live?
Yeah.
You were at the fight live, okay.
Yeah, I was right behind Andre 3000.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, I was watching it, and, you know, I was leaning Bud, but just leaning. Right? Never did I expect it to be that dominant.
100%.
But here's what changed me. I'm cool with Zab Judah, right? And Zab's, I talked to him a lot, and he said, I asked him who you pick. He goes, weigh-in. Not until the weigh-in. So I'm like, huh. So when they weighed in, the one thing that I saw, Spence apparently had a size difference. So they say, a size advantage, right? But at that weigh-in, now tell me if you agree, Bud looked a little more swole than he did.
Yeah.
And that's when I said to myself, well, if Bud doesn't, if there's no size advantage, I'm going to have to go with Bud even more, right?
Right. Bud is a big dude. Bud is a big, strong, athletic dude. All right. And The beautiful thing about Bud Crawford's career, it reminds me very much of Bernard Hopkins.
Mm.
The beautiful thing about, and Hagler, actually, the beautiful thing about his career is he was so dominant, and up until this point, you could kind of explain things away. Okay, he was too big for Gamboa. There was nobody at 140. It was all these arguments that I've even brought up, knowing that he's a great talent, but I just didn't see him having anyone who ever pushed him in the ring. Well, it's hard to get somebody to push you in the ring if you're just that damn good. We were just talking about Roy Jones Jr.
Right.
We never had anybody push Roy in the ring. Well, in his prime, you just ain't going to find anybody. Sorry. If James Toney can't do it, you're just not going to find anybody. Right? Right? I mean, he had Bernard Hopkins look like, it's so funny, right after Roy Jones, Bernard Hopkins went undefeated again for another, I don't know how long. Roy Jones was just that dominant. And you find out, it's so sad that it's happening so late, but everybody all around boxing know who Terence Crawford is, how good he is, and you just can't explain shit away. Even if you try, you can't explain shit away. That guy's just great, bro, and he's big and strong, and he's going to be a problem for whoever at 154.
But the question is, well, first question, do you even want to see this rematch?
I don't need to see it, no.
I kind of agree. And who just told me this? Somebody just told me, I forget, maybe it was Winky Wright, or somebody was like, he needs to rest. Like, Spence, do you agree that Spence shouldn't go right into anything and take some time? Or you think he should just...
I don't know. I'm not around him enough to know. You get what I'm saying?
From what you saw, because, I mean, no disrespect to him, but that was kind of a beating, and your body does need to recoup.
It is a beating. But at the same time, it's this. So if he's hungry, if he would not be satisfied and can't keep living more days without getting his get back, get in there. You feel what I'm saying? Like, if you just think about anybody in the street fight, you in a street fight, if somebody whip your ass in a street fight and then you come home and you like, man, I can't wait for tomorrow to meet him at school, and everybody is saying, hey, just stay home, don't go back to school. I ain't doing that shit. I'm not doing that shit.
All boxers are like that. I was like that even in sparring. Somebody gets the better of you, you want to immediately. But that's not always the best thing for your brain and for your body, even though that's what you want to do.
I just don't know. You know, let's see what happens after the suspension, you know, come September 29th. Let's see how things are looking. We'll just see. I can't really make that call, but I don't give a damn. I don't care when it is. I don't need to see the rematch. But I'm going to tell you this, though. The rematch must happen. Not just contractually, but when it comes to boxing culture. Sonny Liston was the champion when Ali whipped that ass. There was a rematch.
But there was a difference. That fight was far from looked at as being even. People thought Liston was going to crush him. This was so even.
Okay, that's facts. But either way, after seeing the one-sided ass whipping, there was a rematch. Joe Louis matched Mellon. There was a rematch.
But that's only, I feel like, more so because people were like, oh, it might be a fluke because of the odds.
Okay.
You know.
Errol Spence may be a fluke because he was weight training at 147.
Right.
But no matter what, with him being a unified champion, champions get that. They get that second chance. Foreman whipped Joe Frazier's ass. They had a part two.
Vicious.
Yeah, it was vicious. And they fought again. So, bro, either way, you're going to have your rematch. He was the champion. He gets that. All right?
Okay.
But just like Ali Liston, just like Foreman Frazier. Right. The second one, I'm not expecting it to be that much different. Okay. Maybe a little closer. But.
So, Boots Ennis. Does Boots Ennis, can he beat Crawford? And more importantly, is he ready now, or does he need a few more, blade sharpening fights?
He can beat Crawford because I don't put that past any man, right? I mean, we saw Buster Douglas have Mike Tyson for his mouthpiece. You can have a bad night, no matter how things go. You know what I mean? Boots is too talented of a fighter to say that he can't beat anyone in the welterweight division. He can. But as an analyst, right? And it's the reason why it was so hard for me to pick Terence Crawford and Errol Spence. it's very difficult for me to pick a guy based on an eyeball test when Terence Crawford is a multi-division champion doing the shit that he's doing, fighting who he's fought, and looking like he looks in those fights. Now, you have Boots versus Villa, okay, fine. But it's very difficult. And even if you say Boots is naturally gifted, so is Crawford. We were just talking about that with Errol Spence. Errol Spence is technically extremely sound, textbook type of guy. Terence Crawford is water. He got those things like Roy Jones that you just can't figure out. He's in the ring doing things that he effing feel like doing. So is Boots. So you can't say that Boots will have this natural talent gifts over him either. Now, is he ready for Terence Crawford? Of course. Of course. Because look at his record. He's the mandatory. How long do you want him to wait? We need to stop doing that. You know, these fighters, look at Devin Haney being undisputed when he's undisputed, how young he is. You know, Wilfred Benitez versus Sugar Ray Leonard. I mean, they got it in early, right? These are the prime times, and he did what he had to do to be mandatory. He has a great record, knocking everybody the hell out. I think only like 2 fighters survived. What do you want him to be? Bro, he's ready. If he gets his ass whipped, it's not because he wasn't ready. It's because Terence is better than him. But what's wrong with an ass whipping? What's wrong with it? It's just going to make you a better fighter. So yeah, I think Boots is ready.
If you had to choose a winner, who would you choose?
Like I said, I would be insane to choose against Terence Crawford right now based on the data that we have. It's not how good you just look in the ring. It's how good you look against who.
I mean,
so
you know, to me, it's I'm sure you saw this, but about Bud, but his background. I mean, his mother would pay neighborhood kids to whoop his ass.
Yes, Lord.
That's a mix of some satanic, but then also some evil genius type shit, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Dude, I'm saying everybody is combative. Everybody has come back. Their whole family is just on that shit. They all, the women too, they all are pit bulls out here. His daughter, shoes falling off, putting them back on, they are ultra competitive, ridiculous people. And his DNA, I'm hearing that Joe Louis is like his great uncle or something like that. Yeah, look that up. So his DNA I should have added that more into my analysis. Because really, when you are a competitor everywhere, your bloodline, every son's wrestling, that's just what y'all are. Bro, you got to add that into the equation. Yeah, Terence Crawford, his mama, everybody, his father was boxing. Yo, this guy is just built like that. You know, he got shot in his head, back in his head, and he drove himself to the emergency. The guy is just built like. If I get shot in the back of the head, I'm passing out. As soon as I realize I got shot, I'm passing out. He keeps himself together. He's always winning. He's a winner, bro.